Hello. There she is. Hey, boo. How are
Hey,
you?
Ed, how are you?
I'm good. You look beautiful.
Thank you. You did too.
As we let some people in, as people start trickling in, I just want to thank you so much for doing this.
Of
Whether
course.
you're watching it live or watching the replay, you are in for a treat today. I am here with one of my favorite people. Someone that I've been super blessed to get to know over the last few years and recently, especially this year. I think it was a God thing. As I just kind of reflect on this moment, I can't help but think I feel like God blessed me with like a little sister that I never have. I don't have a sister, and every time I talk to you, I'm like, Alexis, you remind me of like if we were sisters, you'd be my little sister that I would just totally like vibe with. So I just want to thank you for accepting this invite and coming on here. The people who are going to hear from you today are in for a treat. They get to hear from someone that I believe is making an impact in the world with your mindset, your resilience, your story. And I don't know how much we're going to get into today, but I just want to say thank you. And if I get to do anything in life, it's to have my Oprah moment. It's to have my Oprah moment to where I just get to shine the light on someone that I think can make an impact and has such a relatable yet impactful story in certain things, but then what people don't know about you, right? So, just to give a quick introduction, Alexis is a mother of six, a wife, a YouTube phenomenon, in my opinion, in the real estate space, has closed over 150 plus transactions just off of YouTube or trending, trailing to close another 50 this year, which will put you over 150 just off of YouTube. And now you're helping other leaders, team leaders, agents do the same so that they can run a healthy business. But most importantly, authentically represent their brand, authentically choose who they want to be in business with, right? And you get to build your business by design. So, we're going to talk a little bit about business, but I really think that before we can talk about business, people need to get to know you. So, Alexis, thank you for being here. And let's just kick off with a couple little like introduction of who is Alexis outside of, the real estate space, a little of your personal story and identity, and then we'll dive into business.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm super excited to be on your platform, right? So as she mentioned, my name is Alexis Diaz, and I'm from New York, born and raised in Staten Island, New York, and I relocated to Florida in 2013 because I wanted to give my children a better life. So at that time, I just had my second baby that December. In March, we were like, okay, it's time. We're going to Florida. Um, then I had my third child, and I was still like, I couldn't have any more kids after my third one. And I was like, I've always been the type of person is like, okay, how can I help someone, right? I remember being in junior high school, and I there was this one girl who she was a mother at a young age in junior high school. Something horrible had happened to her, but she didn't have any money. Her family didn't have any money. And I'm like, what can we do to help her get a prom dress, to get her hair done? And so I was talking to all my friends, and I was like, hey, we need to raise some money for her, right? And we were able to get her a dress and have her hair done and make her feel good, right? So hey, it transitioned into my adult life as well. I was like, how can I make a difference, right? And I was like, I think I want to foster children. And I had to do a little convincing to my hubby. And I was just like, I didn't know what I was doing, to be very honest with you. I didn't have guidance. I just went on Google, and I was like, okay, foster community. And at that point, at that time I was in Claremont, and I got licensed. We opened our house. We must have fostered like 15 kids in total, but the three that we kept, we adopted, their parents' rights got terminated, and we had the blessing of being able to adopt them. So yes, we have six kids. We have three biological boys, and then we have three that we adopted. They're two girls and a boy. So now we're just, we're we're going through life. Is always chaotic, but it's beautiful.
I love that. And I'm so glad that you shared that story because I think people will be able to really understand your heart and your passion to serving others and what you're doing also now that you're giving this gift of helping other people as well. How can I help other people, right? Grow their business and find joy and love in what they do when they're running their business while balancing a family, etc. So of course, if you guys obviously can show some love in the chat, it takes a lot of it takes a special person to foster but also adopt, you know, a family of 3 children, and also be in real estate. Like you and I talked about a little bit about mom guilt. So for if there's any moms in the house, and I see some fellas in here, I see like Josh Starn, right? He's a single father, and I see how he pours into his kids while balancing real estate. Let's talk about a topic that a lot of people don't talk about before we get into the YouTube strategies. Where do you fall with the mom guilt? Because I think it's important for people to understand that, you know, you're a real human being.
Yeah, I have no mom guilt, right? Sometimes they just get on my nerves, right? And I'm pretty sure that we get on their nerves. And I think it's necessary for us to have separate times away from each other. Like when I go on vacation, if I go on vacation with kids, that is not a vacation. It isn't, right? Because you're constantly making sure you're keeping them alive, right? That they ate, that they're behaving, that they're not jumping off the cruise ship or whatever, you know. So if we take the kids with us, it's not a vacation. We need a vacation from that, right? I don't even know what to call it, but it's definitely not a vacation. There's no mom guilt, right? I love being away from the kids, and then it gives us just the opportunity to miss each other, right? To really appreciate each other. And so you would never hear me be like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad because I left the kids. And no, if I leave on a girls trip and they're staying with their dad, they're good. They're gonna be kept alive. They're gonna be fed, right? They're gonna still be breathing. So bye, peace out. I'll see you guys in a week, right? And then when we reconnect, it's like, oh my gosh, I missed you so much. I love you, right? And we just need that time apart. So no mom guilt here.
I love that. I love that honesty, and that
But people are
transparency.
not honest about that. That's the thing. There's a lot of moms who I think feel the same way, but are scared of being ridiculed because they don't have that mom guilt, right? At the end of the day, like you said, we are human. We're humans. We're not like robots or anything like that. We need our time. We need to find ourselves as well.
Um, what you're gonna get with Alexis is always the truth, the real, raw, authentic truth. And I think that's why I love her so much and I gravitate towards her so much. And I think that's why her business is where it's at. She is someone that has made it a point of her brand to be exactly what you see today, is exactly what you'll see when you follow her YouTube. By the way, do not follow her YouTube channel. She's gonna tell you this, and it's not meant for you not to follow. She's gonna explain to you how that affects the algorithm, but then she will explain to you what channel to follow, which we're gonna put in the comments, which is the Monarch School of Real Estate, I believe.
It's called the Monarch Method.
The Monarch Method, that's the channel that you want to follow, where she will share with you the tips and the strategies for you to build your YouTube page, similar to how she did so. And you started 2 years ago, right? And now you have a great success story, which you're going to be at EXPCon sharing some of the strategies, and she's going to give you guys some of that today. So if you are going to go follow Alexis today, which you should, not only on IG and all the other platforms, it is the Monarch Method on YouTube, where she's already dropping knowledge for you guys to grow your YouTube channel. But if you go to Evolve with Real Estate, you can skim through it, but do not follow. You'll see her personality is just exactly what you see today. The truth. She is a person that is so authentic, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Building a brand that is authentic to you and how to get started. Now, one of the things that I want the world to know also is, before real estate, what did you do?
Wow. Okay. So I did two things. Before real estate, I was a secretary for at Disney for 5 years. I supported managers who were in charge of transportation engineering services, so the maintenance workers who worked on the boats, the skyline, the monorail, the trains, etc. So I did that for 5 years, and prior to that, I actually went to school to become a pastry chef. That is my true passion. I love, love, love baking. And Veronica has had my cookies. Whoever has my cookies, they're like, oh my gosh, they're the best cookies ever. I just truly enjoy it. Like just like her husband Tony, he truly enjoys cooking for people. I really love baking. I love the art of baking. So yeah, that's what I did. But I found out really fast where in that culinary world, it's where it's like you have to drop everything and anything because we have an event and you have to be here, right? And it just didn't align with my spirit because I was just like, wait a minute, I gotta go pick up my son, right? And that hit me and I was just like, no, it's just not for me. So I still, I'll still bake and things like that for my friends and my family, but as a career, no.
And let's talk a little bit about that though. We've talked about you didn't just go to any pastry school, guys. She went to Le Cordon Bleu. She doesn't even like talk much about that, but I think it's important because it's one of the best and the most recognized schools when it comes to culinary. But the systematic approach, right, of baking, right? You're very disciplined in everything that you do. You follow the recipe, you follow the system, right? And I think that there is some sort of like if you kind of like think about what it takes to get a recipe right. Because if not, they could look pretty, but it tastes like poo-poo, right? And there's a science to this, just like in real estate, there's an art and there's a science to it. I think there's art and of course the heart, and then there's a science to all of this. And I think that as people get to know you, they're gonna understand a little bit more of like, man, like it's not just the bubbly personality, it's the consistency, it's the formula, it's the fact that you are disciplined, it's the fact that you are patient and willing to try things and perfect and get better and learn through the process, right? I would assume, like in baking, right? You didn't get it
Absolutely.
right the first time. And if we look at what we see as the traits of a top producer, right? The traits of someone that has mastered real estate or in any industry, it's the repetition, it's the ability to learn, it's the ability to try things, make mistakes, and then voila, something happens one day. So, because people are here to hear about your YouTube story, I want to give them what they're here for, but I think it's important for them to have gotten to know a little bit about your personality, right? And your big, bold moves that you're willing to do, the origin story of how you made the decision to even make YouTube a part of your business strategy. Was it strategy? Was it survival? What was the moment that you said, I'm going to do this, I have to do this, and why?
So let me give you a little backstory, right? Like, let's talk about why I got into real estate. So the reason why I got into real estate is because in 2019, so my husband has always been the breadwinner, right? He's the ones who always paid the bills. I worked at Disney, and to be very honest with you, I was only making $30,000 a year. With a family of 8, that's nothing. Okay. So I was like, you know what? He lost his job and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I was like, there's no way that I can afford to maintain a family of 8, right? And so I was like, I've always had a passion for real estate, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. So I went for it. Here I am Googling because I had no idea. I had no mentors at that time. And I found Climber School of Real Estate. And I talked to my manager. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go for my real estate license. I need to adjust my schedule so that I can leave early and I can go to class at night. And that's exactly what I did. I think it was like for 4 weeks. And then I told Vic, I was like, listen, you're going to have to take these kids for the weekend. I have to study because I'm going to pass this test on the first try. And that's what I did, right? I passed it on the first try. Now, thank God that he got his he got a new job and all that other stuff, but I never wanted to feel defenseless again, right? I never wanted to be like, "Oh my gosh, how am I going to be able to feed my children?" So, next year COVID happens, right? We went furloughed for Disney. We came back. Then I got let go completely. But thank God I was already in like the day to day with real estate, right? So I just like everyone, right? You come into real estate and you're like, I don't really know what to do. Which way I'm going? Because there's so many ways: cold calling, expireds, open houses, social media, door knocking, all of this. So your girl tried it all. Your girl tried it all, and then I joined the team, and I was on the team for 2.5 years. So I recommend, if you don't know where you're going and you don't have that sphere of influence and you need some mentorship, you need to join a team. You need to join a team because you're going to have that mentorship. You're going to have the leads, right? You're going to have the systems and strategies. So when you are established and you feel like, okay, I think I could do this on my own, you already have a really good foundation, right? So that's what I had. I had a foundation, but I was like, man, this is still making cold calls, making cold calls. And I'm like, this is not really, I'm not aligned with this anymore, right? I'm really good at it, but it doesn't fill my soul. So I went to a class, a YouTube class that one of the agents here in my office was teaching, and he just gave me the blueprint. He gave me the blueprint on the screen, and you know what? I told Vic, I was like, I'm gonna do this. I could do this. And I just took exactly the blueprint, and I went to town. I said, this is the only thing I'm gonna focus on, because a lot of the times you get like shiny object syndrome. Oh, that person is doing open houses and that works, so I'm going to do that. Then that doesn't work. You do it for 2 months and that doesn't work. I'm going to try something else because that somebody else is successful in it. So no, you have to just put your head down and stick to that one thing. So that's what I did. I was like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. I know what I need. We started with our phone, and honestly, our first couple of videos, the video is shaking, right? And I'm a little timid, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, right? Like I don't really know what to say, but you evolve. And that's what happened. The third week of January, that was when I posted my first video. I actually put it on my story today because I was just in like awe of myself, because I was just like, man, you grew up, baby girl. Like, you kept doing it. And I didn't close my first deal until June, right? But I kept at it because consistency is what's needed. Consistency is key. You have to keep showing up. And that's what I did. I keep showing up 2.5 years later. I post at least one time a week. And honestly, it's the same day and the same time that I've been doing it since 2023, right? And then with everything comes pivoting. You're gonna have to pivot. Sometimes you say, okay, this is not working anymore, this style is not working anymore, so I have to pivot, right? And I continue to pivot till this day.
I love that. I love that. Guys, if you guys don't mind, let's blow up the chat on any of the things that you're hearing there. I heard laying the foundation. I heard honestly following the playbook, following the blueprint. And if you don't have a sphere, think about joining a team where you can build the foundation while you are obviously building your brand, getting the experience, the time. I always call it the exchange of time for experience, right? It can collapse time, it can get you there faster while you get those reps in. A lot of times people want like, oh, I just want to see my face on billboards and my face up there. Like, bro, how about we get some reps? How about we get some deals underneath underneath your belt? And when you were ready, you said, my next level is to build something, right? That obviously you love, that fills your soul, right? Because at first you were doing this to provide for your family. You were like, we're never going to be victim to being dependent on if there's an economy shift or, like my boss telling me if we're going to have a job or not. You guys made this decision for your family. So you go to the class, you hear the blueprint. Most people will try something once, and then if it doesn't work immediately, they give up. You stuck with it for 6 months before you got your first lead or your first deal.
My first deal. I was getting leads, but honestly, the first few leads you get is rentals, Section 8, and all of that, right? Nothing wrong with that, but that's not who I'm trying to help, right? I'm trying to help people buy houses. So it wasn't until June where I closed the first deal.
If you're on here and it's because you want to make a commitment to starting your YouTube channel and you don't know where to start, or maybe you're not getting traction, give me some sort of like thumbs up in the chat, because I really want her to drop some knowledge on what it is for you to take the first 3 to 5 steps to get started. Okay. And we will allow for some questions at the end. But Alexis, what were those things on that blueprint that you said, okay, this is where you start. If you could go back to that moment where you were sitting in that room and you heard, okay, this isn't as hard as people make it out to be. People think that they have to have a videographer, the most expensive equipment. They think they need to be like a SEO expert. Like, can you share for anybody who might say, look, I got a skeleton crew. I don't got nobody but my iPhone and the desire in my heart. And I don't know anything about anything. And then on top of that, how you niche down to find your one niche that worked for you to where then it went viral. What can you share with them for those who are here today saying, inspire me to just go take action and be bold, which is one of your philosophies?
So do you give me permission just to be honest?
Yes, please.
So I was so scared. I was so scared. The what ifs went into my head. The limited beliefs, right? The fear, the oh, I don't have the right equipment. I don't have the expensive ones, right? I don't have this, I don't have that. But this person is doing this and that, right? How can I go on YouTube and record videos in that same area, right? That's all limited beliefs, okay? And that's self-sabotage. So that's what I needed to tell myself. I was like, there's only one me at the end of the day, right? And so I was like, we're gonna do this. I voluntold my husband, I was like, you're gonna record me, right? But if you don't have someone that you're gonna voluntold to do anything, volunteer to do anything, there have been agents who are literally like this. They're putting the camera on and they're recording themselves, and that's how their YouTube videos are. And they have been very, very successful, right? So I wouldn't say if I wouldn't say to if you have someone if you don't have someone to record you, do it yourself, right? There's so many tripods now that you can hold, and you can utilize that, right? You need to be resourceful. Be resourceful for what you have. I talk about if you're a stay at home, if you have little children and they're not in daycare or anything, bring them along, right? Have them in the videos. I have 6 kids. I have them in my videos because I want to. At the end of the day, this is going to be your business. People are going to vibe with you, right? And if they don't like you or they don't like your children in the videos or what have you, then they could move on to the next one, right? So don't have that limited belief like, oh, there's already too many realtors on YouTube. There's already way too many realtors on YouTube in my market, right? What you have to set yourself apart from everybody. And that's what I had to do. I set myself apart. We started with a phone. We started with a gimbal, right? The cheapest gimbal we can find. We started with microphone, the cheapest microphone we can find. And then we started with the drone, the cheapest one that you can find. You don't need to start off with a drone, but I like the drone because it gives the viewers a whole perspective on the outside, the lot, things like that.
So I'm just so grateful that you were honest and real about the fear that people have in their head, right? And the limited beliefs. And I think everybody here who's listening and who will listen to the post is very, we all start somewhere. We start scared, we start not knowing everything, but like I said earlier, it's the consistency. How many videos do you record a week? Or did you at the time when you first started? Because I know your channel is a little bit more beefier now.
Yeah. So when I first started, I committed to once a week. That's it. Once a week because I just didn't want to overcommit myself because I can be an overcommitter. Like I'm an overachiever. I'm like, I could do this, and that. So I just wanted to just keep it simple. You know how they say keep
Keep
it
it
super
simple,
simple.
stupid.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Yeah. But keep it super simple, right? And one time a day, excuse me, one time a week. Start with the same day and the same time. Now, I always recommend if you're going to start your YouTube, do not post your video until you have at least 4 videos in total in the pipeline. Because what you don't want to do is you're going to post one video, right? And then you're like, oh, shoot, life happens and I don't post another video till 3 weeks later. Well, that is not being consistent, and YouTube is going to reward consistency, right? So if you don't have at least 4 videos in the pipeline, do not post that one video. So that's what I highly recommend. So now, after I seen, okay, I'm doing one, I could do 2, right? And so for the last maybe a year and a half, I've been doing 2 videos, posting it at the same time, Mondays and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Because what you'll see is that a lot of people are watching YouTube at night. So that's what you want to do. Post it at night, and you'll see once you start posting your videos, you'll get a YouTube analytics, and it's going to tell you what day, what time your people that are watching you is mostly on. Okay. And so that's what we've done. And then yes, I went up to 3 videos, but I couldn't maintain 3 videos per week. And then I seen that it was actually hurting my algorithm. So I just thought I just went back to 2. So again, that's where I say where you have to pivot, right? You have to really be intentional about looking at your analytics and being like, okay, wow, I see a drop in views. Wow, I'm not getting as many subscribers. Something's off, right? But you only want to change one thing at a time, because if you change too many things, you don't know what's working and what's not.
I love that. Something that I know because I've gotten to spend some time with you. So one thing was your videos, your tours. You did a couple things that were unique that I think is really, really cool. Guys, number one, be creative, be authentic, be authentically you. And she said YouTube rewards consistency, but also there's some, and we don't have to get into the weeds of all of that because I'm going to make sure that they get a post follow up and a link to where they can, get to know you a little bit more. You're going to drop some stuff for them. But a couple things was you found some key words that got rewarded, right? You say like, I'm from Staten Island. You guys know I love me a good island, right? So every time and you're in the kitchen, right? That's one of your things. Obviously, there's certain things that YouTube through your experience have realized you've been rewarded. You get a lot of New Yorkers, right? Because it picks
I
up
do.
the fact that you talk a lot about New York, right? And that might be a whole nother series where we bring you and Vic to talk about where YouTube rewards you guys. But I think what's really cool that I like that you did was 2 things. The video that really blew up, that went viral, was when you're like, you brought in a whiteboard to your like viral video. Can you explain to them what that did to your channel? And then I also want to talk about your show.
Yeah. So great point. Guys, I followed his blueprint, but I was like, I need to make this my own, right? How am I going to separate myself from the other real estate agents that are in my market advertising the same areas, right? And I am a very visual learner. Like I like to see it, right? And so I would never forget this day. I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a whiteboard. I'm going to take it with me. And we're actually had to do a showing that same day. But I was like, I got to get this portion of the video. So I was just a little late to my other appointment, but I was like, I got to get this done. And so I'm like, this is evolution, right? I had the whiteboard, I'm writing, right? And I'm just giving them very specific, very simple numbers, because number one, I'm not a licensed lender, right? I'm not a licensed tax appraiser. So you always want to disclose that. But I'm like, okay, if the price of this home is $250,000, there's no HOA fees, there's no CDD fees. There's a few more popular loans, and I talk about the FHA, I talk about what it looks like for a down payment. I talk about closing costs. A lot of people don't know that what are closing costs, right? A lot of people only think that there's just a down payment. There's closing costs too, right? So I'm explaining to them what are closing costs. What does it look like when you add the down payment to the closing costs is going to equal your cash to close, right? I talk about conventional. I talk about homeowners insurance. You want to talk about things that people don't have knowledge of. They think that they know, right? Oh, homeowners insurance is like $5,000 a year. Nobody is insuring anybody there. No, that's not true, right? And so I talk about things like that. And so, you know how many people have, everybody who reaches out to me, they're like, I call it Monarch School of Real Estate. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it because you give me an idea of what to look forward to. You set yourself apart from all the other agents, right? And so it was with that. And we've evolved it, right? Because you have, in my first video, I'm like writing all the numbers, and it was like a 40-minute video, a long video. But that video blew up, not only because of Monarch School of Real Estate, but because it was a $250,000 house on a half an acre, no HOA. So I'm very strategic in the sense of I want to do videos on houses that are going to be very appealing.
And that became a niche for you, and even a little bit distant niche for you. You were
Yes.
willing to commute a little bit out of
Yes.
your desired area where, hey, you're thinking about Orlando, you're thinking about Central Florida. Let me show you what you could get with no HOA, with acreage, and under 200, under 300,000, right? So
Yes.
obviously that really was a niche that blew up, but it's not what you only sell, but it was, she cracked the code, guys. And I think a couple things that you can pick up from that, right, is setting yourself apart while still following the blueprint, but finding your authentic voice. That creativity of bringing in the whiteboard, the visual, right? She could have popped up some letters or whatever with editing nowadays, but she made it so relatable. And we've spent a lot of time talking about this, of how people consider you like their source of education now. Like you called it Monarch School of Real Estate, whether they're thinking about getting real estate or buying, you're like the person who guides them. Let me segue into the show. This has then led to you becoming a person that people feel like they know you, like they're watching a show. They've built this relationship with this personality that you are. So you host a show just about every Sunday, or that pretty consistent. Tell us about the YouTube show and the amount of people who hop on and their watch time. Their watch time watching your show, and watch you guys now try to go and hop on her channel. And I told you not to, but some of you guys aren't going to follow the rules. But tell them a little bit about the show.
So number one, my YouTube channel is basically my billboard, right? So my videos are pretty long. You don't have to have it as long as I do. Mine's between 25 to 30 minutes. I have a whole HGTV show, right? If HGTV ain't gonna give me a spot, I'm gonna make my own. So that's what I do, right? And then I figured, okay, I need to build a community. And building a community, I started the realty. Okay. And I started it in August 2024. And I was very nervous. The fear kicked in because I was like, oh my gosh, what if nobody joins, right? What if I'm just talking to myself and there's nobody commenting? But I just kept pushing. And I've been doing it for over a year now. And I love it. It's Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I usually do tell my viewers in my videos, like, hey, if you want to just chop it up with me, and then I tell them about the Sunday live. But we have a good 20 to 30 people every Sunday, right? And yes, there are some Sundays that I won't make it because I'm traveling or anything like that, but I'm pretty consistent. Now, not only is this to chop it up, right? To let them know what's going on in the market, but it's also to create that community, right? I have people like, man, I look forward to this every Sunday. I feel like you're in my living room just chopping it up with me and we're drinking coffee together, right? And that's what I wanted to create. Now, you also want to give value, right? So the way I give value is I'll invite a lender, I'll invite a title agent, I'll invite a insurance person, I'll invite an inspector. 2 weeks ago I invited a credit specialist, right? A credit repair specialist, because I want to provide value. I want my people to know that I got you, right? And so yes, sometimes I'll be, looking crazy. I'll be cooking, or do you see the kids in the background? But they know all my kids. Like, my people who watch my channel know all of my children, because number one, I do this for my children, right? I want them to be a part of what this is, what it is that I'm creating. So yes, I got you is my tagline. This is how I talk. This is how I talk in my videos. This is how I look in my videos, with the big earrings, the extravagant nails, right? And there are people who are like, oh my gosh, your nails are so ugly. I would never work with you because of your nails. And you keep it moving, right? And so I wanted to bring up with what Veronica said. So I say the same thing over and over and over in my videos, right? So every time, I swear, I cringe every time I'm showing. They'd be like, oh, that 100-inch minimum TV is going on that wall, right? Or they'd be like, oh, I know you like the island because you an island girl, right? And so I cringe, but you know how many people remember every little like thing that I say, because I'm always saying it. I'm intentional about it. So when people call me, they be like, oh, it's the I got you, girl. I know you got me. And that's what I want.
I love that. I love that. How many of you guys are like feeling empowered, or just feel like you were just given permission to just go out there and do something that is authentic, that you're just ready to bring out your true authentic voice you've been holding back? That's what I love about Alexis. And I think that that's what has been something that we connect so deeply on is like what you see is what you get. Like you are not going to see Alexis on stage or off stage be any different than who she is in person every single day. And that's what I love about her channel. It's what I love about the clients she works with. She tells me, Beto, when I meet clients, they feel like they've known me like we're homies. She was like, so my client retention. Now let's talk about this. We're not just talking about like guys, big bold personalities. We're talking about systems, right? She has a system, and on her YouTube channel, it's like clockwork. People are booking appointments on her Calendly. She's very strategic to the point, guys. I trust Alexis so much. She's actually helping launch our team system. Like she and Vic are, vested in it, and we're building something pretty special. And a lot of people think like, I'm just go out there and duplicate it. You can, but we're working on something pretty cool. But like everything from how the Calendly is set up. We're not doing this just for views. We're doing this for obviously appointments as well and building an audience. But you have now built a system that you can run your business like a business, and you know what your calendar is set up with. How many appointments would you say YouTube is bringing you, weekly, per week, and you guys are actually tracking this of your business? What percentage comes from YouTube?
I would say about 95% is YouTube. Now I'm starting to get like agent referrals. But so I would say 95% is YouTube. And so for YouTube, we get a good 5 to 7 really solid leads per week. There are slow seasons, right? But that's pretty average, is a good 5 to 7. But the thing about YouTube is that you are getting solid leads, right? It's not where it's just like, oh, I gotta, I don't have no money, or I have a 300 credit score. And these people who call me, they're solid. And I attract the older crowd, right? So a lot of my clientele is in their late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, right? And so they're pretty financially established. So that's why we're closing deals how we are, because we are attracting those clients. Now, I'm very strategic in the sense of in when I coach my viewers on how to reach me, right? So I'm like, hey, if you want to work with us here at the Evolve Estates Group, the best way to reach out to us is going to be in my YouTube. There's a link. That link is to my calendar. Now you can choose whether you're a buyer, seller. We're gonna meet via Zoom because I want to see your beautiful faces. If that's all too much, you can send us a text message, email, call us, or send us a smoke signal, right? Something like that. But what I want to see and what I want to tell you guys too is that there's way too many realtors that I've seen their pages where they have links to all of their social media. Why? Right? Because you don't need them to go to another platform. You already got them where where you want them. Now the next step is for them to either call you or be in your calendar.
I love that. I love that. Okay, a couple more questions before we have the panelists either come up and ask questions, because we already have one question in there. What would you say is the reason that so many people try YouTube and they don't have the success that you have? Like, or a success that others have, that they're like, I've tried it, I just can't crack the code. And because I know you studied a lot, you're like, Beto, this is the issue. Like literally, you and I literally talk about this all the time, but I want them to hear. And I want them to not hear it because I don't want them to feel deflated. I want them to learn from the strategy so that A, they don't give up, and B, maybe they just tweak a couple things and listen to someone who's actually done it and is winning it with it.
Yeah, so I feel like the main reason why our realtors don't succeed on YouTube is because they're looking for that instant gratification. And honestly, YouTube ain't gonna give you that instant gratification. It's gonna take some sweat equity, right? But it's gonna take that consistency. You just gotta stick it out. You gotta keep showing up, right? Even when no one's watching, you gotta keep showing up. I feel that's the biggest thing, is just keep showing up. A lot of people, right? When they're, and I was there before I started the YouTube, where I wasn't on a team yet, and I was like, man, I'm not making enough money. And then you feel like you need to get a part-time job, right? But wait a minute. wait a minute, you're gonna get a part-time job and work for somebody for, let's just say, minimum wage, right? And it's really not gonna give you the money that you need. You're not building your business, you're building somebody else's business, right? Instead of putting 110% focus into your business, right? And so you need to put your head down and you need to be consistent. You need to come up with the roadmap. Don't go in blindly. And that's why I created Monarch Method. I am giving you the roadmap. I am giving you everything that I do. So you need to take a Sunday, you need to sit down and you need to watch my videos and come up with a game plan and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait until I have 4 videos to post the first one. But as soon as I post the first one, I'm going to make sure that I'm working on the next 4 videos, right? And you have to be consistent. Post it on the same day and the same time, right? And just wait it out, because I promise you it's going to work.
I love that. I love that. Um, I have a question for you that I think a lot of us would probably remember in that in our industry in our career would have been one of those moments where you just wanted to give up in real estate, where you just said, "Man, I'm doing all this work, but like I'm just I'm ready to throw in the towel." And then how did you get out of that?
Yeah, so I would
If
say,
there has been, maybe you haven't.
no, no, no. There definitely has been. It has to be before I joined the team, right? I was doing it by myself. And I felt defeated. I felt defeated. I was like, man, I'm doing these open houses every freaking week. I'm cold calling. I'm trying door knocking, right? And I really, really felt defeated. But you know what? I was like, wait a minute. I'm not tapping in to the people, the culture that I have access to, right? And so as soon as I tapped in and I was resourceful, I was like, man, there's a whole nother world out here. You don't have to do it alone. Right. And so that's when I decided to join a team. Right. And then when I was on the team, I was the top producer on the team. Right. Because at the end of the day, being a mom of 6, I have no other choice. Right. I have no other choice. Ain't nobody else gonna do it for me. I have to make sure that my children are good, right? And still being on the team, right? I was doing the business and things like that. And as I mentioned, it just wasn't, I wasn't fulfilled. And then I started the YouTube and I was like, damn, this is what I love, love, love to do. And it fulfills me, right? And so I've always had that moment of, oh, in the beginning where I'm like, damn, I should get a second job. I almost got a job at JetBlue, right? Because I was like, well, I'll get free tickets and things like that. But then they requested you to do the COVID vaccine. And I was like, nope. And I feel like that was God right there. Alexis, you don't need nothing else. You need to just stay the course and go all in. And I thank God. I swear I thank God for that.
I'm so happy you did too. And by the way, congratulations because you were with a team and you have been under the guidance and the mentorship of, some mutual friends and partners. And then you left the company and came back and you've been having a kick-ass year, even in a down market. And just watching you come back up into the rankings. And now I'm super excited because we're all going to be in the same office together and like, I'm just excited that we all get to learn from each other. Can you talk a little bit about the power of community and being around others that, show you where you can go? So if someone is lonely and they're feeling like, man, I want to do that, but I'm afraid to ask for help, or I want to be there, I want to do that, but I feel like I'm a little behind. Anybody who might be listening that might be able to take some advice from you.
So yes, I was with EXP. I left EXP. I left EXP. I was going through some really, really tough personal things, and I went over to another brokerage. But let me be honest with you, I'm gonna kill it wherever I go, right? So I killed it where I was at, and it wasn't because I was tapping in or anything like that. I put my head down and I'm like, I gotta feed my children, right? I gotta change lives. But I thought to myself, and of course my husband, and I'm just like, man, this doesn't feel like home.
Mm.
And I reached out to Gil again and I was just like, man, I think I'm ready to come back home, right? And it was the best thing that we could possibly do, because yes, I can make it wherever I go, but if you surround yourself with people who are already where you strive to be, or you strive to they're doing things that you strive to do, you're going to get there 10 times faster, and they're going to motivate you. Maybe not even intentionally, right? Just being around their presence motivates you to just do more. Like being around Vero, I'm like, I'm thinking small, right? There's just what? Like where her mind goes, I'm just like, yes, yes, I want to do that because I believe that I can do that, right? So it takes you being around people who think bigger for you to think bigger, right? And if you feel like you're around people who you're scared to ask, maybe you're not around the same people. Maybe you're not around the right people, right? Or if you're like, oh, I just don't know, I'm scared because I don't know what they're gonna say. Guys, you need to stop being scared. You just need to stop. You just need to just go for it. And here
You
at
rem-
our culture, we help. We help.
you remind me a lot of me when I had someone that I looked up to. I was like, you, me, we're gonna be, there's something here. I don't know what it is. And I was like, I know you probably think I'm gonna be like a groupie or like some weirdo, but like to this day now, 15 years later, we're the best of friends.
Oh, I love
And
that.
you know what I love about you, it was so funny when we were in at an event, you were like, I want to pick your brain on like recruiting. I want to pick your brain on how do I grow and scale and this and that. I was like, all right. I was like, you want to spend time with me? Just fly out and come spend time with me. And I always say that just to like scare people off. And you're like, I'm there. And I was like, and you're like, is this a real invite? I was like, yeah. I was like, just come. And next thing you know, from there, we've been inseparable. But what's really cool, guys, is get around people who will open their playbook to you, but also like what I love about our relationship is the humility. I'm like, Alexis, you can teach me. And she's like, what? I'm like, girl, we all can learn from each other. I would say the collective power of sharing, knowledge sharing, and just giving back to each other. I consider her one of my coaches, guys. So if I consider her one of my coaches, I want you to know, like, I'm not above anyone. I just have a little bit more tenure probably in the business. And I feel like I'm a student every time I'm around her and Vic. Like they really are doing something special. And this is why I wanted to bring her on here. You know, I hope that you guys will follow her. I hope that you guys will show her some love because she is amazing and what she's doing and her spirit of giving. Okay, so I want to talk a couple more things before we bring some panelists up as we wrap up because they got some questions. What is next for you? What is next for this vision so that you
So
can put a bow on
what's
this?
next for me? Yes. So what's next for me? So I actually brought one of my agents on to my YouTube channel. So I'm sharing her with the world. I'm sharing my platform with her because I am super excited on what YouTube has to offer, and I and I'm just living in an abundance mindset, right? What's next too is that I will be speaking at EXPCon next month, which I'm extremely excited. But I'm even more excited to help teams really leverage YouTube, right? Because we know that Zillow Flex, they take a lot of money, right? So if you can have an opportunity to gain a whole bunch of qualified leads as you would with Zillow Flex and not pay a penny of a referral fee, right? So I'm excited to help you and the Fig team establish that. That's really that I'm super super excited about that.
Yeah, we've been working on some stuff behind the scenes. And as a person who's always been very passionate about teams, Alexis and I are really in alignment where I'm like, and again, maybe the people on here today don't have a team, or you're on a team and you're thinking about how do I get off the team? What keeps me up at night is more like, how do I help teams, who pour so much into their agents and they invest millions of dollars to build this infrastructure. Some of us have invested millions of dollars, time, energy, make it to where the agent never leaves. And when I say the agent never leaves, I don't mean that the agent won't leave the team. I don't mean that they won't evolve. I mean that their contribution to the team will live forever. And through the power of video, and especially now with how you can leverage some of these platforms, I say, build something together, but regardless of when it is time and that season is to evolve, when you use evolve, because that's Alexis's brand, right? That everybody contributed in a way that is abundant, and there can still be a legacy that was built together while that person contributed to building the brand, and you as a team leader truly contributed towards helping them gain their confidence, their brand, their mojo, their street experience, the transaction experience. And it's a beautiful world where I tell team leaders, hey, what if you never had to worry that they ever left because they truly didn't leave? What they contributed to the team never left.
Mhm.
And I'm working on a special project with Alexis on that and a couple other amazing people. It's my mission to give back to the industry and to change the mindset of scarcity. I remember one time Alexis said, "What if I give too much?" And like, what if I give them the playbook? And I said to her, give it all away.
Yep.
Give it all away. And that's the only advice that I have for you. But Jessica actually had a question for us. She says, in your experience, what do you think people look for in these videos? Why do they decide who they are going to follow and who they choose to reach out to? I think that's
So
the
I
question.
really so I really do feel that people, you can feel energy through the TV, right? And I feel that you could spot fakeness from a mile away, right? And so what I think that grabs people's attention is me being me, right? What I feel that grabs people's attention is that I'm very honest, right? I'm like, well, why did they put this here? This doesn't even make sense, right? Like things like that. I'm just not like, oh, everything is all rainbows and sunshines. This is a perfect house, right? Because that's not what I'm there to do. I'm there to story tell, and I'm there to make people understand what's possible and what Florida has to offer. So to answer your question, is being authentic, it's being truthful, and it's just being like, hey, what do you guys incorporating them? What do you guys think about this? Do you like the way that this island is situated? Things like that.
I love that. I love that. If anybody has any burning questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll bring you up as a panelist. As we have about 9 more minutes left, and I want to maximize as much as possible, not just for those of you who are on here, but also the people who will listen to later on, because we do have a lot of people who registered and we'll get them to post-production. Alexis, you and I, until the question comes in, you and I got to spend the weekend together with 6 other women. And what was your biggest takeaway from spending time with women who have built businesses in different facets, right? And not just women, we had some really strong leaders here, and I want to talk a little bit about AI as well. But what was your biggest takeaway? And we'll segue into why AI is powerful and how you plan to use it.
So I think the biggest aha moment this weekend was um of course, on a personal note, is that I got my sisters, right? That's hands down. But being around powerful women, right, who are successful in it doesn't have to be in real estate, right? In every aspect of their lives, or in a lot of aspects of their lives, right? They're just human, right? Sometimes you just think that it's just so unachievable, but they're human, right? They're human. So it's just like it's where that if they could do it, I could do it type of thing, right? Like they just got very clear on their goals and stood the course. And that's where I took away from that, where I was like, man, they're just like me, in the sense of we all have goals. We've all accomplished many things, but there's more than a bigger picture. There's a community, right? And so this allowed me to tap into my community, and my community of sisters, my community of women, right? That I don't have to do life alone. So that's why I took away this weekend.
What kind of accountability was in the room? Like how do you describe the kind of accountability when you're in a room with powerful or like leaders that just know like, hey, we're not here to play small. For anybody who's in a room that might think like, man, my team, like the people around me aren't holding me accountable. What does accountability look like when you step into those kind of rooms?
So accountability looks like you need to leave your ego at the door, right? You need to leave your defensiveness at the door, because at the end of the day, they've been there, done that, and they're going to tell you the truth. Whether you like it or not, you need to listen and you need to take it into consideration and be like, okay, this person has been there, done that for, they're way ahead of me in the sense of business, or they've been doing it longer than me, right? I need to listen, right? I always want to be in a room where people are doing way more than I'm doing, right? I want to be the little one in the room because I'm learning just so much. And again, it just doesn't have to be real estate. It's being a better mom, being a better wife, right? And that's what I loved about this weekend, because it just wasn't about real estate, right? That was a very, very small portion. It was about, how can I be a better mom? How can I be a better wife, right? How can I be a better sister? How can I be a better friend?
I love that. All right, so we could get mushy on this stuff, guys, because we do that sometimes. But if you're in my world, I think one of the things is when we get in the room, we're going to push each other. We're going to hold each other accountable.
Oh
We're going to
yeah.
acknowledge that everybody's gone through some BS, but we don't let that BS be our story. It's not our final destination. Let's just keep moving forward. Um, but I think what's really cool is I'm going to finalize with AI. A lot of people are obviously intimidated by the power of AI, and it was my it was my birthday weekend, and here I am like building our video clones and I'm like,
Yeah.
hang out with me. We're all getting video clones, like, and it was more like, how do we share our authentic voice, and how do we still show up, and how do we use it for scale? Where do you plan to use AI, and how do you plan to make it a part of your brand, because you are such a real and raw person? And are you excited about it? Are you scared about it? And how, what's the conversation in your head?
I'm very excited about it. My husband has been like in my ear about AI and ChatGPT and utilizing ChatGPT. And I just like, right, babe, this year where I was just like, okay, you know what? I surrender. I am going to use ChatGPT. And now I use it on a day-to-day basis. But it honestly bothers me that I've seen a lot of realtors post on like Facebook pages and things like that. Oh, this is an AI post, or all of this chat GPT. But that's what chat GPT is meant for, right? As long as you're not losing your voice, right? And your authentic self, you can still use chat GPT and still be authentically you. Chat GPT, you could be like, that don't sound like me, right? Let's make it sound like me. And then it's like, oh, okay, you want me to sound, you want to be sassy? Okay, I'm gonna put it right. You want to sound sassy, right? Type of thing. So we use it in our business, right? We use it to we use it in YouTube, we use it in our systems. And I'm super excited to see what's to come with AI and the evolution of AI right now. Sometimes it's a little scary because I'm like, is that you or is that an AI person, right? Because it's just gotten so really good. But we definitely use AI.
I love it. I'm excited. I think what's really cool is you saw one of the girls that were here this weekend, she has a business inside that lives in her, but she was afraid to maybe take action with it. And by the time she left on Lovable, we built out her whole website.
Oh, I love
Uh, for her staging company, and we were able to get her excited about leaning into AI and the efficiencies that it can bring to her world, and also capture the essence of her style of design. And she left so excited. And it's just really exciting to know that you can utilize a tool to make your vision come to life. So yeah, I'm really, really pumped. If there is no more burning desire questions from anyone, I
I
would
just
love.
want to leave everyone just with something, right? Like we all and we talked about this. We become we go on these masterminds, we go on these Zooms, right? And it's just like, okay, I'm gonna join this Zoom, I'm gonna join this coaching and all of that. And you take so many notes and it just stays in the book. Right? You guys need to dedicate time after any mastermind and review your notes, maybe rewrite them, right? Come up with a game plan. Okay, everything I said is not going to resonate. Maybe it's just that one thing. It only takes that one thing to resonate and to be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to execute on this. So just don't make this you spend an hour with us and you don't do anything with this, right? You just be intentional, be clear, and execute.
I love that. I was going to ask you to leave us on a note, but I think that was the
That's it.
best note to leave us on, the fact that you come to these things, just pick one thing. Don't be hard on yourself, one day at a time. Have grace, and this weekend, one of the themes was to be still. And sometimes we take on so much to be busy just to be busy, but how much time do we take to just reflect on our business and come up with a solid game plan? And I think that's what, I take away from what you're saying is like make a decision, commit, and take the next step to make this beautiful, life come to life, right? This beautiful business by design, which is what you've done. And I'm so proud of you. So, guys, I have some homework for you, some housekeeping rules. Number one, go follow Alexis on Instagram and obviously Monarch Academy, is it?
Oh, the Monarch method. Katrina
Monarch.
put it on the in the
And then
chat. There's a link. Yeah.
Okay, make sure you follow her. If you haven't registered for EXPCon, do so. She's actually going to do a fire presentation and hit her up, thank her.
Oh yeah.
And as you start your YouTube journey, like share it with her, share it with her. Vic and her are super abundant. They're excited to see you guys start this journey. If you're starting today, congratulations. If you're deciding that you're going to revive your channel, and also be humble enough to ask for help if you feel stuck. So we don't want anyone to feel stuck. So thank you so much for being here today. I
Thank
am so grateful and I'm so lucky to call you a friend and a sister.
thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you
Bye.
so much for being here. You guys are the best.